This image fits in perfectly with the name of my film because my character looks scared and alone. This means that the audience has no sense of security at the start of the film. It's very similar to films like the Saw franchise, which has a killing at the start of each film. Therefore, the title The Haunting fits in with my film perfectly. Although not a long shot, this is still a master shot because it sets up where most of the story is set. Therefore, the audience is straight in the story and involved in the lead's life. The character is right in the middle of the shot because he is the main character and one that the audience thinks they are going to sympathise with and follow throughout the story. But the look actually creates a sense of the main character looking out for someone because what has happened to him is brought on by him, as the audience later realise. The next few shots are all in order so that the audience again feels as though they are with the main character. For the first minute of my film, there are no other people involved other than Simon. This reiterates who the audience think they are following. A film like I Am Legend is a very simple narrative with only a few characters, so this is similar to my film. Again, for the start of this film, there are only one or two characters similar to mine. Behind the character's head there is a light shining on him. This is a sense of hope for the character at the start of the film. Some of the audience who have seen the film poster will realise why the main character needs hope, because the poster contains the demons. This means that before the audience sees the film, they have made assumptions and already tried to pick a side in my film. This is a mid-shot that zooms out into a long shot. This is because the audience is put into a position in my film where they do not know whether they are following Adam or the demons. The reason for this is that the main character has brought about the haunting on himself, which means that the audience aren't entirely on either side of the battle. They can sympathise with Adam because of what he is going through, but they feel more behind the demons because of the way that the shots are positioned from their points of view, and because the audience are almost punishing the main character for making a mistake. This shot then shows part of the story from the demon's point of view. This shot is just after the audience sees a flashback of a sign saying "Don't take the pills." I put this shot in because I wanted the audience to feel as though they knew part of the story. Also, they wouldn't feel as sorry for Simon, because they would know that it was his fault for not taking the pills, therefore the film would take a different path for the audience to look at it. This means they would interpret the film in different ways. This is the first shot in the film where the audience is far away from Simon, signifying the start of the situation deteriorating for him. The clothes are the same as in the previous shot because it is all situated across the same day. The mirror is significant because it represents the main character looking back and remembering the fact he was told not to take the pills. It is also the last time that he can look at himself sane. This is very reminiscent of a film like Shutter Island, which has a mirror shot of the lead character as he is going insane. The film has the same genre as mine, which is a psychological horror, so it means that if I could take inspiration and develop different parts and techniques used in that film. For example, the low humming sound of the music was used in Shutter Island to signify the enemy on the screen, whereas in my film I used it to slowly build tension. This is the first frame with the character that is not Simon. I chose not to show the character's face straight away so that the audience as well as Simon had not seen the child properly yet. The boy's hand is the absolute focus of this shot. This is different to the previous shot because it has all been around the lead and no one else. The location has not changed because it is in the lead's mind and not in a different place. The audience can tell this because the demons disappear from the screen, showing they are not actually there. This is confusing to the audience at first because they can't tell if the new characters are real or not. This means that the audience does not fully know if Simon is mad yet. This adds to the narrative because the audience keeps guessing and carries on watching. Therefore, it is following a convention of a horror that the antagonist or villains are not always clear straight away. For example, in the Saw films, the audience does not see the protagonist character. This keeps the audience guessing and trying to read the story in their own way with different interpretations. This is the third shot of the young boy. He is still not in full view, so the speed he is introduced to Simon is exactly the same as his introduction to the audience. This keeps the audience on edge and more involved in the film. It is a point of view shot because the audience can feel as though they are in Simon's head. This shot goes towards the demon, reiterating the fact that the audience do not know entirely which character they are actually following. The camera shakes as Simon is trying to get the boy out of his head. It can also show he is trying to get the audience away from him. Therefore, he is trying to get out of the pressure that he is being put under. There is a message about the feeling that Simon has because of how society feels about him and the way they treat him. This is felt when he shakes his head as he is trying to shake all the people, i.e. the demons, as well as the audience out of his head. I tried to really get the audience inside Simon so the audience felt as frustrated and confused as he does. Although they do not feel what he is feeling entirely, they do not sympathise with him because they know he has brought it on himself. I think this shot fits in with the horror genre because the antagonist is very hidden and mysterious because he has not been fully seen yet. It is similar to a film like The Blair Witch Project, which is all shot in point of view and is very effective in doing so, because rather than there being a main character, the audience is the main character. The door is at a slightly jaunted angle to signify confusion and how surreal the film is, but Jonathan is straight on at the camera to try and make him more real and therefore scarier to Simon and the audience. This is because in my film I've tried to make the gap between reality and the surreal closer. It also reiterates the fact that the audience isn't sure who they are following because Jonathan looks as real as Adam. This is a series of shots that get closer to the both of them, intensifying as it goes along because the shots slow down almost as though the audience are watching it for longer. This last shot is edited to slow down slightly so the look between the two characters is very intense. This is the start of the build-up to Adam cracking. Dave is slightly more in the shot and also looking down onto Simon because he is the powerful one in the shot, and therefore it's almost a signal of the people in Simon's head beginning to overcome him. The audience is almost acting as a third demon because as Dave is close to Adam, we are also close watching him. This again fits with the interpretation of society putting pressure that is not wanted on a person with a mental disease. This then fits in with the title of the film. The next set of shots is also all high angle. This puts the audience in the position again of one of the demons because Simon is beginning to lose his sanity and the people in his head are taking over, so the power in the film towards Simon is lost. The film is set across one day so that it shows that the main character could go through in one day, but the look that Dave is giving Simon is as though the haunting of Simon has been happening for a long time and these two know each other well. This hints to the audience that Simon is cracking not because of the demons but because he is actually being watched. He is always being watched and wants to be left alone. The demons never actually physically touch Simon because they cannot physically harm him. This shows he can only be broken down mentally, which is what happens throughout the film, and also reiterates the fact he has a disease of the mind. This is another clue to the audience that they are not real. This shot is dominated by Simon because he has a knife and finally has some power in the film, but he's still behind some bars, almost like a prison, which is reminiscent of the feeling in his head that he's being entrapped. It's as though he is now trying to break out with the knife. This shot comes after a lot of high-angle shots of Simon, so now he's being represented as the key protagonist fighting against his opposing forces. This shot could also be a point-of-view shot from one of Simon's demons. It shows that he doesn't know where they are, but they are always watching him. This then, although not high angle, makes Simon look very vulnerable because he is unknowingly being watched. The music is still the low ominous sound which is almost building towards the climax of the film. This is the climax of the film where Simon screams out, "Get out of my head." It's not a conventional climax because not a lot of action happens, but it's the point where the film changes finally to really show the emotions of Simon. It's after a series of zooming close-ups of Simon, then Dave, then Jonathan. The zoom shots are just before this one because it creates a feeling of getting very close and right into the main character's personal space, causing him to crack. This had a voiceover that created a sense of terror because the mouths of the demons were not moving, showing that the voice was in Simon's head, and it created a real knowing of Simon's condition. This put the audience right in with him again, making it as much the audience's fault for him being put under the pressure. This reiterates the fact that the pressure being put on him by the audience and society is breaking him down as much as the demons are. The knife is dominant in this shot because the lead character wants the people out of his mind as well as the audience and society to leave him alone. Therefore he will do anything for it. Because there are no more shots of the demons from now, Simon is back to being the dominant one in the shot, even though he is not fully in control. This fits in with the psychological aspect of my film because it's the main character finally cracking and struggling with his condition. This is the shot where the whole of the story is revealed. I chose to reveal the story here because the audience and society has put so much pressure on the main character without even knowing it. This means I revealed the story here so the audience could understand why there are a lot of close-ups and also why they get so close to Simon. It's because they are always watching him and getting too close for his comfort, hence why he cracks. Throughout my film, the story is not always clear. This is the first point in the film where the audience does not have the point of view of the demon or Simon. The audience had to try and piece the story together, which is reminiscent of horrors like Saw, which the story is not clear until the end. It's quite a long shot because there is a voiceover. This had to be fully listened to and concentrated on, so the shot underneath the voiceover is quite a simple one. The mother character is presented as quite powerless and almost tired of what has been happening to her son. She's looking up in the air as though to say to someone to help her. This shot is done just outside Simon's room, as though she is sitting outside his jail cell. This is as though his mum is pressuring him because she is locking him away, keeping him away from the real world. The red light above the door is symbolic of hell to show the evil in the room and therefore in Simon's head. This is the final shot of the film. At this point the camera is zooming out from Simon. This is the first time in the film that the audience is leaving Simon alone. It is symbolic of the demons also moving away from Simon. He is dominant in the final shot, but again it seems as though he is not in control because his head is down and he looks quite small in the middle of the bed. Simon curls up into a ball in this shot because it is him finally being protected and safe. It's symbolic of how broken he is because he looks very small but is trying to keep his last remaining sanity to himself. It looks as though Simon is almost in the fetal position, like he's been reduced baby-like. After this shot are a series of black and white shots, and then this shot repeated in black and white. I did this to try and show that because of the audience of demons are leaving him alone, the worst of it is over for him for now. But because the shots are repeated, it's as though the horror that he has gone through could repeat itself, like the shots do. I did this because I wanted the audience to fully understand the film and what the main character is going through all the time. The black and white meets the psychological aspect of my film because it is similar to a film like Memento, which uses black and white flashbacks.